Okay, I'm back. Just want to skip the traffic jam part. I'm really kind of now on the Schuylkill Expressway, perhaps the most dangerous road in Philadelphia. Probably one of the top most dangerous roads in the state. But it's actually not so bad. We're moving, which is good. And so that leads me to another thing that about freeway riding. We talked about being prepared and everything. Be prepared for traffic like this. And if you are on a scooter and you're on the freeway, chances are, you've got a good bike and it can probably go fast, but it's probably going to go as fast as the cars around you and possibly slower. And because you're on a scooter, a lot of drivers like to pass you. A lot of drivers like to tailgate you. And so you might want to switch lanes. Right now I'm in the cruising lane. And that's just to sort of set myself up to get to the right kind of exit. No one is really tailgating me. But, if they are and I want to switch lanes, shoulder check. I cannot say that enough. You must shoulder check every time you want to change your lanes. You could have your mirrors positioned correctly, and that's fine, but there's a blind spot. And it doesn't take much for someone to get in your blind spot, and if you check your mirrors and you think you're okay, and you turn, and there could be a cement truck in the other lane. And you're not going to win that contest. Ever. So, shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. Turn signals as well. You must signal, let everyone else know what your intentions are. I can't say it enough, I'll probably be saying it again. See and be seen. That is your number one rule. See and be seen. We have a small profile. We've got people who aren't used to seeing bikes on the road. You got to make sure that they see you. So shoulder check, signal. Watch out for the crazies. And here we come to another traffic jam. And that's to be expected. Back again, and I'm now on I-76 heading west. Got through all the traffic jams and in and outs on the Schuylkill Expressway, and right now it's looking pretty good, pretty easy going. Some light traffic, but not so bad. I'm doing about 65. A little wind, and maybe a little bit more than a little. So yeah, it's more on riding on the freeways. Talked about the importance of shoulder checks. So the other thing I want to talk about is positioning. Ideally, you want to find a bubble. Avoid congregations of cars, of trucks, any kind of vehicles. Find a bubble between those packs and stay there. Cruise if you can. A lot of people talk about positioning in the lane that you're in. And so in every lane there's 3 places in which we can put our bike: the left, the right, and the center. Some people say, oh, avoid the center, oil drips there and everything, stay in the left or right. And I think that's smart. But the thing is, the road conditions are never constant. The road conditions are always different. You really want to put yourself in the part of the lane that's going to be the safest to drive. And like I said before, it's all about seeing and being seen. And I like to put myself in a position where I can see things. And right now I've got a nice bubble, so I can kind of ride in the middle. That's fine. Sometimes a road, because it has a lot of truck traffic, you get little grooves in the left and right part of the lane from truck tires. And the center has a little bit of a raised camber to it, so it's not always comfortable to ride there. If you don't want to, you can move to the left or right. when I'm closer to someone, I like to be in the left or right because I can see past them. And I want to see what's ahead because that allows me to anticipate what's happening. The car in front of you kind of determines what you can do, but the car in front of that determines what it can do, and so on and so forth. So you want to look way down the road as far as you can and see what's going on. Is a traffic jam coming up? Is traffic slowing down? Is there an accident? Animals, anything. So look for that and position yourself. So I'm creeping up on the people in front of me, which means I'm probably going to change lanes. Way ahead, there's a semi-truck. We're going to talk about passing trucks and positioning on trucks, but let's do this. So signals on, shoulder check, counter steer, lane change. Yep, and he's going off. It's okay, I'll pass this other person. Someone coming up behind me, so I'm gonna wait until I can see the car in the right lane in my right mirror. Signal, shoulder check, a little more gas, and counter steer, lane change. Okay, trucks. Trucks are big, and again, see and be seen. So you want to be in a position where they can see you. So you want to stay at least 200 feet behind a truck. Never really drive directly behind a truck. You know, if they suddenly have to stop for whatever reason and they don't know you're back there, you're just going to run into them. Also, you want to position yourself so you can see any road hazards. And trucks will block all of that. I'll stay here for a little bit. So right now, I'm probably just on the edge of 200 feet. I can see their side view mirrors, so hopefully they can see me, and that's a good place to be. I'm putting myself a little bit more on the left lane, again, see and be seen. But when you pass a truck, you want to pass it as quick as you possibly can. Never ride alongside a truck, any vehicle really. You want to clear them. It's rare, but it can happen, and that's the blowout. You don't want to be next to them. If the truck has a blowout on their tires, get past them as fast as you can. Now, depending on the size of your bike, getting past a big vehicle could be a little harder because of the slipstream of air coming off of them. So let's see how bad this is. I'm going to signal, shoulder check, car's coming up. I'm going to slow down, let them go by me. And this is just because I don't want complications. I don't want to like a car that's accelerating and then just cut in front of them. Okay, shoulder check, counter steer, lane change, and now I'm going to accelerate, and let's see what the slipstream is going to be like. So far so good. My bike's fairly big, so I'm not really feeling anything. And again, just cruise on past the guy. A little bit of a slipstream there. Alright, I can see him in my right mirror. Signaling, shoulder check, counter steer, lane change. Boom. So I used the word complication before, and that's something that I like to just think about while I'm riding. You know, am I riding into complication or am I avoiding complication? And what do I mean by that? Well, you might have some friends, brother, mother, father, someone in your family who drives, and always at the last moment, they're shifting lanes to get to where they gotta go. There's an exit up ahead, and like, you know, the exit's on the right side, and they're like 2 lanes over in the left, and suddenly they're changing at the last moment, and you're grabbing your seatbelts, your heart racing, because they are driving into complications. And I think for a lot of two-wheel riders, because we're looking down the road all the time, we see the complications, we can anticipate it, and we're pretty good at avoiding it. And so that's what I always say you should do, is try to avoid complications. So back there when I was trying to pass that truck, I saw another car coming up on my right side. They were accelerating. Again, I could have changed lanes and been in front of them, but I would have been trying to pass the truck while trying to accelerate and stay ahead of a car behind me. That's a complication. Avoid it. Some people think that speed is the solution to everything, and it's not. There are multiple solutions to things. You want the one that serves you best, and I'd say you want the one that's least complicated. It's nice, I'm cruising up at 70 now. So another thing about freeway riding, you know, your bike might be right for it. And I would say if it's 200 cc's or higher, 200 is really the low end of what I would say you should be riding at. 250 probably would be better. If you can do 65, and I'm not saying that's your max speed, I'm going to say that's a comfortable cruising speed, then you're probably okay. Right now, yeah, the speed limit here is 65. I'm doing 70, a little under 70. But let's say your bike is, you know, big enough, powerful enough, 300 cc, 400 cc, higher, and it can do freeway riding, and that's good. But other things you need to think about: are you going to be comfortable? In other words, is your seat set up for you to do long rides? And there are some bikes that are bigger, same size as mine, but their seats are not comfortable. And you know, if your ass is killing you within an hour of riding and you're in agony a half hour after that, then you might need a new seat, or your bike may not be made for long rides. It's got the power, but you don't have the endurance. You can add features to your bike to make it more comfortable, to your seat, and that might be all you have to do, you know, and that's fine. Are your controls comfortable? In other words, can you keep your hand on the throttle for a long time? Does your hand cramp up? And it could be that maybe you're not used to taking long trips. So there are certain devices, things that you can put on your throttle to make turning it a little bit more comfortable, and that might be what you might want to get if that's the case. Depending on where you live, depending on the climate, you know, it could be hot. You live in the south and the southwest, and it's hot. You're sweating, which means you can get dehydrated. So how do you hydrate? You can get certain types of gear. I can't remember the name of it. It's like a backpack that you can wear that has like a little straw that you can drink from. Camelbak, maybe. Having something to drink, I've got like a bottle of water here in my computer bag, but you know, the way my helmet is designed, there's no way I could drink from it while I am riding. That would be something I would have to pull over, or I'm at a light, or whatever the case might be. But keep yourself hydrated, because being dehydrated is going to make you uncomfortable. And for me, if you're not comfortable, you're not aware. And if you're not aware, that's affecting your security, your ability to see and be seen. So all these things are interconnected. So make sure you got a good, comfortable seat. Make sure you're comfortable with your controls. your throttle. Even, you know, if you have to adjust your brakes, do that. Your shocks, if you're carrying more gear, you might have to adjust the shocks on your bike so it's not as hard, it's a little bit softer. And stay hydrated. Big truck up ahead. Car coming up on my left. Gonna let him pass. Signal, shoulder check, counter steer, lane change. Got a little bit of a caravan up ahead. Yeah, I can feel the slipstream here. But, you know, it's jostling. It's not really moving my bike around. This is the thing about driving the Pittsburgh I did not like. They have these concrete barriers between the two sides of the highway, and it makes like a chute, which is, you know, nerve-wracking because you don't have anywhere to pull over. You're being funneled. Alright, so I don't want to be stuck behind or alongside this camper. Get out of his slipstream. Shoulder check. Boom.